Hello, and welcome to a demo of SmartSimple Cloud. SmartSimple Cloud is a flexible solution, meaning that any language, branding, terminology, color schemes, logos, etc., can be configured to your organization's specifications. That includes a login page like the one we're seeing here, where we would match the branding from your organization's website, including color schemes, logos, etc. We can also match business processes in the platform, and we have the flexibility to mirror your exact business processes. So keep that in mind while we're looking at the demo today. Now, as far as registering users into the system, we offer self-service registration pages, which can include eligibility questionnaires and database lookups to databases such as the IRS database to confirm tax status. Records can also be imported into the system, so you can begin on day one with your records in the system. We also offer single sign-on through a number of vendors, and we do have multi-factor authentication as a security measure in the system. I'm going to log in here as a system administrator in the system. System administrator is my role, and here in SmartSimple Cloud, each user will have one or many roles that will determine their access to records throughout the system, as well as the fields on those records. It also determines what our homepage is when we log in. So right now I'm looking at a system administrator portal or homepage here. As you can see, we have aggregates that can be listed up here at the top, which can be your grant types. We can create visualizations in the system to slice and dice the data that we've collected in the system in any way you see fit. These are interactive and could be exported at any point in time. Here are some examples. We also have shortcuts that we can create to help you navigate to areas of the system that you frequent, so they can always be just a click away. Each role in the system will have their own portal or variety of portals, which will show them content that's relevant to them. That includes task lists for individuals in roles that would be required to complete tasks in the system as well. Let's go ahead and look at an organization record in the system. Here we're looking at an organization record, and this represents the American Red Cross in this particular demo system. These are malleable profiles, and all fields can be created to your specifications so that you collect just the information you'd like to about these organizations in the system. Here are some example fields we have, and they are dynamic, as are all records in SmartSimple. Now, on the left menu of the organization profile, we have some of the records that pertain to this organization. First, we have notes, which is a communication construct in SmartSimple, where we can communicate either about a particular record internally, as well as communicate with external users on this particular record, and they're nicely organized on the record itself. These are featured on applications and activity records as well, which we'll be looking at later on in the demo. Next, we have all the contacts within this organization. These are the users within the organization, and they can have individual roles. We can associate users with multiple organizations under any roles that you specify, not just the roles you see here in the dropdown. We can also associate organizations with each other. Here are some examples. We can store bank account information, as well as any communications happening inside or outside of the system. Here is a list of all of the granting history of this particular organization, which is nicely organized here on their profile. So we can navigate to these records, and you can see these are not just the approved grants, but also maybe some declined grants that they have initiated, as well as some that are maybe in draft that they're still working on. Next, we have activities. These are records that pertain to those applications we've just looked at. That can include maybe reports, such as progress reports, interim, final, annual reports. Review forms that were completed on behalf of those applications we've just seen. Payment records, which could be tentative, paid, or any statuses that payments have in your system. We can also store signed copies of grant agreements or any contracts against these records as well. Next, let's have a look at a contact profile. So here, let's go ahead and select the primary contact in this particular organization, who is Sarah Miller in our example here. Now, user profiles are also malleable profiles, and all fields will be created to your specifications. Roles will have different access to fields as well as different sets of fields on their profiles. Here on the left menu, you can also see we have the records that pertain to this user, such as notes. We can also store associations with multiple organizations, bank accounts, their application or granting history here, as well as those records that pertain to those applications, just like what we've seen on the organization profile. I'm going to emulate the session of this user, and this is a nice feature that we have that allows us to view the system from the vantage point of another user. So as you can see up here at the top, we are viewing the system from the viewpoint of our applicant here. This is an example of an applicant portal, and in your system, they will look different as we'll match the branding from your website, and we can have different themes or templates, layouts, or different lists of tasks, or perhaps items for them to review. Let's talk through what we see here. First, we have required tasks. These are tasks that are surfaced on the portal and they pertain to the individual. So they don't have to go looking for these tasks. They can simply log in and view them on their home portal. Next, we have current applications. These are the applications that this particular applicant is currently working on, whether they are not yet submitted, invited, or we've requested some revisions of this applicant here. And lastly, we have funding opportunities as well. This can be a list of just the active programs, calls, or funding opportunities that your particular organization is allowing for open application. We can view the program overview of a particular funding opportunity to view some information about eligibility or deadlines. And we can apply if we are ready to begin the application process. Ahead of actually entering the application, we can have an eligibility questionnaire if necessary. This one does not have one, so we can continue to the full application. These applications are built to your specifications, and you can make changes at any time. There can be multiple application types with different deadlines and process flows associated as well. These are just some example fields that we've configured on this particular application. If we try to submit an application, we do have validation automated in the platform to ensure that we receive only applications that meet your minimum requirements. We can select one of these validation errors to be taken directly to that field to fill out that particular field. Next, I'm going to emulate a reviewer in the system. So I will first navigate to a reviewer profile here, and I will emulate the session of this reviewer. This is an example of a reviewer portal. Once again, yours could look different depending on the tasks that are assigned to reviewers in your system. First, we see assigned committees where we could accept or decline conflict of interest waivers, perhaps, or invitations to committees that we've created in the system. Next, we have outstanding reviews and review assignments. I'll select one of our outstanding reviews. This is an example of a rubric, but rubrics will be built to your specifications. Formulas to calculate scoring can be built into these forms, and weighting can vary per scoring criteria as well. As you can see, the review score has calculated. Something that reviewers really love is the ability to view application in split screen. As you can see here, we now have our application that was submitted on the left side of our window, as well as the rubric here on the right side, so we can add comments and scores all within the same tab of the same browser. When we're done, we can go ahead and close out and click submit, which will send it to the next stage in the review process. We can have multiple stages in a review, and this will be handled by the workflow engine of Smart Simple Cloud. I'm now going to emulate an internal staff member. First, I'll navigate to their profile, and I will emulate their session. So this is just an example of an internal staff member's portal, and yours can and will look different. But here we have some shortcuts to some actions that they may frequently be initiating, such as creating grant invitations or committee meetings in the system. We can also surface aggregates for your grant types as well. The task list for internal staff can be shown on their portal as well, whether it is payments that are ready to be scheduled, reports that have been submitted, applications to action, etc. They can all be displayed for internal staff. Let's have a look at post-award processes now. First, I'll navigate to an application in my application manager that I've approved. We can automatically generate a number of records or automate actions pertaining to these records based off of our workflows and the conditions associated. That includes generating the appropriate number of reports, progress, and final reports, and assigning due dates. We can also send reminder emails that can be workflow generated based off of your process. Agreements can also be generated from templates, as well as award letters. Any contracts that you have can be generated with a click of a button or sent off fully automatically via workflow. We can also allow for flexible contracts by populating them in a contracting record, which we can actually collaborate on and make changes internally before we send off to external grantees or to any stakeholders. Let's have a look at some other portal themes and layouts so we can see some of our different options for a look and feel when it comes to portals. I'll quickly flip through a few of our standard themes and templates here. And your portals can be any mixtures of features you see here. You have nearly endless configuration possibilities for portals. And like I mentioned, each role can have their own portal with relevant information included. Now, lastly, let's look at reporting. On any lists in the system, we can filter these lists based off of the type of record. So for these applications, we can just view applications of a particular type. And these will be your types in the dropdown, as well as by status or where they are in the process flow. Furthermore, I can actually go ahead and filter by an even more granular set of values if I deem necessary. So using the advanced search here, I can also filter by field value, such as awarded amount here. We can save these filters later to reuse them. And we can also use these filters to create our own visualizations, our own charts and graphs. Lastly, let's look at our industry standard report builder, which allows us to create custom reports with our own custom formatting, group bys, and sorting. First, let's have a look at forecasting, which we can manage using these reports. We can forecast payments for this year as well as subsequent years, as you can see here. We can schedule reports to run automatically and be sent via email to an individual if you'd like. And we can also use OData to send this data from our reports directly into visualization softwares such as Power BI, Tableau, etc. Here's an example of some demographics that we've collected on some applications where we can compare some target values versus actuals within the system. These are just two examples of reports, but there are endless configuration possibilities with reports, and we can use this to slice and dice our data, search and query our data however we see fit. Lastly, we can also create maps to display our data, and this data can be interactive and also displayed on externally facing websites to show our impact. Thanks for watching, and please reach out to platformsolutions@smartsimple.com if you have any questions or would like to schedule a more extensive demo. Thanks.